Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Mike in the building. Swish for real. How y'all living? I got my co-host with me today. Boogie, how you living, man?
Doing great, doing great. It's just a nice, cool May weather, and trying to get the grass mowed. And we got the WNBA season starting this weekend. We got the Dallas Wings playing the Indiana Fever on national television. Uh, both teams have had the first pick in the last two drafts, so you got four number one picks, two for each team. So they're getting a lot of publicity, and there was a release earlier in the morning news is smaller. When it's bad publicity, it covers the first page, front page, and a whole bunch. But when it's good news, it's like really small print. But it looks like the Wings may be playing in the AAC next year, all their
Oh
games,
wow,
and they're working on a contract. So
that's crazy. If they can do that, that'll be dope. But I, I know Paige Beckers will be a great draw, and now she got her female companion playing on side of her. So I don't know how it's going to work out for the two. What if something happens between the two of them? So who knows? But not in that kind of alternative lifestyle. But I think them being there, as far as the Dallas Wings going into the AAC, it might boost the numbers, especially with Paige Beckers, because
well,
a
yeah,
lot of people.
even if they just fill the lower bowl, that's still more traffic and more revenue than College Park. And
Yeah,
they two defensive player of the year last year, and one that played for the Minnesota Lynx, and another player from the Minnesota Lynx. So
yeah, and they're saying that Paige Beckers is a lot better than old girl from Indiana. So I'm not quite sure if that's correct or not.
she's more well-rounded, but
Caitlin Clark, that is.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like saying uh, taking a well-rounded point or shooting guard or point guard is better than Stephen Curry. People are going to gravitate to the person that can shoot the three-pointer. It,
Yeah.
but there, you met Big Rob at when I took you to the Maverick game.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
When Cooper scored 51, 5-1, baby.
51. Big Rob and his wife are going to half the games, and me and Wild Dog are going to the other half. So we got season tickets for the Wings.
Nice. Nice. Salute. And speaking of season tickets, the Mavericks got a Canadian professional basketball executive to push the team across the finish line. Masai Ujiri. He is Toronto's savior when it came to the championship, and he got Kawhi Leonard to help them win it. He is now the president of Dallas Mavericks for for this season and going forward. I'm not quite sure how many years they got him. What are your thoughts on the Mavs picking up Masai? And his first name was actually Michael. So congrats, hey, another Mike. We're good. Yeah. So hopefully you'll see this. But what are your thoughts on Mavs picking him up, man? Because he's has an illustrious career as an executive for the NBA teams that he's been on. So what are your thoughts on
Let's see. I don't know. I can make it like the kids make it so easy. The
that?
love, 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 love it. Uh, in fact, I had posted it on Facebook, not YouTube. And one other comment, there was a lot of speculation, and I said no, they'd be better off getting Masai Ujiri. And someone asked me why. So I I think it's a bold, aggressive, and a very smart move. So
You think he's going to bring them closer to a playoff berth, or and because I think what they're saying now is Jason Kidd wanted to be the president as far as him interviewing for it, but they didn't even include him in some of the talks when it comes to finding a president. So, will Jason Kidd continue to be a coach for the Mavs, or you think it's just he's on his
yeah,
last?
that's what I have on my last bullet point.
Okay.
People. So Ujiri is president of basketball operations and alternate governor,
Hmm.
which means he gets to appoint the GM, and then the GM will, you know, appoint or keep their coach and what have you. Uh, so there's at least stability in their structure. And it, if I'm Patrick Dumont and the backlash, you want to divorce yourself and get away from that as quick as possible. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it doesn't matter whether the kid was or was not involved in the trade, or whether it was just Nico solo and Patrick Dumont on that. Uh, it's you 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 could be cooking something, and if there's something spoiled, you could have some other ingredient which is perfectly fine, but everybody's going to smell the spoiled thing.
Mm.
And so they're going to throw out all the other ingredients because they're like, we're going to just start fresh. That way we don't have to worry about whether it's tainted or not. So, uh, kid may be in that position. He might not have anything to do with it. He might have had something to do with it, but I could see where the Mavericks, especially without Cuban having any voice, he didn't have any say in the picking of it. Uh, I could see them saying, "No, we're going to pick our GM," and then the GM will pick the coach.
Yeah, and I think when Cuban tried to buy back the team, that may have kind of rubbed Patrick Dumont the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah. So I have I like to bring it with the stats. These aren't stats, but just kind of topics about Masai Ujiri.
Hmm.
There's a one, two, three, four. There's five big points. One we kind of already touched on. Uh, for those who hadn't followed him, yeah, he won. He brought a ring to the Toronto Raptors, small market town. But most people don't know that Ujiri was a player, a pro,
Hmm.
not only college, but he played at pros in Europe. So he has connections in Europe, much like Donnie Nelson had connections in Europe. And so he was a player in the European leagues. They weren't quite to the level they are now, but he still has those connections. He started as a player, he's got that for him. Uh, I mean, Nico played, but he played college, and not only it wasn't D1. There's a big difference between playing even European pro ball. There's a big difference in non D1 college ball. Uh, he started his career, the second topic, as a scout.
Mm.
He was a scout for the European players. So he he much like uh, Keith Grant for the Mavericks, started as a equipment manager and then moved up through the ranks. And he he knows how to scout people, but he started as a scout in Europe. And then Denver hired him. He was on their scouting department. And then he moved up to lead the scouting department. And then by the time before he went to Toronto, he was head of the scouting department.
Mm.
So not only has he been that grunt guy in Europe scouting, he's been a NBA scout and head of scouting, which tells me he knows how to set up an organization. He came up through the ranks. He has an eye for talent, which leads me to my next point. When he was in Toronto, here's three names that he drafted. One of them is a local boy, played at Louisville, Pascal Siakam.
Mm.
Toronto Raptors, even though with Kawhi, they don't win that championship without Siakam being the
Yeah,
second
his
man.
defense was amazing.
He also drafted OG Anunoby, who
Ananobley,
yeah,
and he's with New York right now, right?
yeah, he's been traded. So there's another thing coming up. That's right. He also drafted Scotty Barnes, who I know you like.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes is nice.
So those are just recent picks. So he has an eye for talent. He's he I had to look all his trade history up, but he's willing to take a reasonable risk, not an extreme risk. And most of his trades worked out for both sides. So, he's being in charge in Toronto. Yeah, he's already established other president of basketball operations and GMs already know him, already worked with him. So yeah, it didn't like New York giving up 5 first round picks for Mikal Bridges or Orlando giving up 4 first round picks for Desmond Bane. And he gave up, I think it was 1 first round, maybe 2, but he didn't give up a lot of capital to get Kawhi, who was going to become a free agent. So, he makes smart trades, and he's not one to just give picks away.
Let me
Uh,
ask you this question before we move on to your next topic. With Kawhi, what was it the reason that they didn't lock him down and he went on to go to LA? What are your thoughts on that?
well, it always takes 2 to dance, 2 to tango, as they say. So even though uh, he openly said when he was Spur, he goes, I'm not signing a contract no matter where you send me because I want to become an unrestricted free agent.
Mm,
So that's why he was available for relatively cheap by today's standards. So when Toronto got him, they were hoping he was the one missing piece, uh, and they knew going in that there's a better than 95% chance that he was going to be an unrestricted free agent. That he
and
was
then when
not
they
ready
lost
for.
DeMar DeRozan, that was a blow to him as well because I
Yeah,
know
they
he was
gave up DeMar
handpicked.
DeRozan, a Toronto Raptor favorite. That was the main, salary to salary. It might have given up 1 pick, but they so they basically got rid of, I think DeRozan had time like 2 or 3 years on his contract, but Toronto traded for him knowing full well that there was a very less than 5% chance that he would sign an extension with them because he openly said, I want to go back to LA.
Mm,
So even when he was a Spur, he goes, I think maybe he'd been in the league 10 years already. What, 2019 when they won? He came in 2007 or something with the Spurs. Anyhow, he had already had the 10-year mark. So uh, he really wanted to get back to LA. So it is basically got a contest between the Clippers and the Lakers, uh,
mm.
and the rest of the league. That's why the uh, rest of the league didn't offer much because they pretty much knew that he wasn't going to sign.
Mm.
And DeRozan played for the Spurs what 3-4 years, and
He was decent for the Spurs, but they couldn't really
yeah,
do
he's
much
a
with him.
forward, decent defender, and he's been good at Sacramento. So, and the last thing that is, which we talked at the beginning, is who does, as president of basketball operations, he's not the GM. So who does he pick as a GM? Does he
He
leave it?
got, I think he picked one already. Was it Smith? I
Unless it
forgot
was
his name.
today, I didn't see that he
Yeah,
picked
it
a
was
GM.
today. I think he finally found one. I can tell you right now. Let me go to my Mavs digest. Well, not digest, but you know.
So if you're appointed
Yeah,
GM,
Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt is the new GM. See?
Mike Schmidt,
Yep.
Schmitz with a Z. Okay,
Schmidt. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Does it
don't
say
know
where he
what.
comes from?
No.
Was he with Denver?
Yeah, probably. Let's see. It doesn't say. It
I
doesn't
I
say that.
I think he might have worked under Calvin Booth when Calvin Booth was GM in Denver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got him though, so they got they man that they was looking to get. Well, Mashari Michael, his name
So
Mike.
so unless you're Jerry Jones, when like football, the head coach usually likes to pick his assistant coaches, and
Mhm.
then defensive and offensive coordinator pick their coaches. So, uh, yeah, he held on to the coach in Denver when he became president of basketball operations, and Terry Stotts, who was on the Mavs championship team, he was there 3, 4 more years afterwards. But if you hire somebody in, they're going to want to hire the people working underneath him.
That's what Nico did.
Yeah, but Nico and Jason Kidd were brought in at the same time.
Yeah.
So Nico didn't really pick his GM. So I mean, this new guy probably want to pick his own GM. But I think bigger there's a bigger question mark out there than that. Since Nico ran Casey Smith off, their strength and conditioning and injury and their medical staff has been well below par.
Mm.
And I think that's going to be a bigger choice than who he chooses as a GM. But uh, frankly, I mean, there's parts I like about Kidd and his coaching, and there's other parts that don't. But clean house. Go ahead and clean house. I'm like, it's a
Even with Michael Finley, you think they'll get rid of him as well?
you keep some of the players around historically, you keep them involved, but Michael Finley's been a silent person in the background with Riccardi. Uh, you could give him a role and keep him part of the organization, but at least with the Kid, uh, I think I mentioned to you this in text, like let Kid go and bring in Jamal Mosley.
And Jamal Moses is more defensive minded.
And that's where they've been, where they've been gearing a lot of their players. But he took Orlando Magic to the playoffs 3 straight times in a row, and dang near knocked Detroit out of the playoffs from the 8th seed.
So he's I guess his contract is expiring. Is that what I'm
Well,
understanding?
he got fired. He got fired right after they lost to the Pistons in Game 7.
That's
They fired
right.
Jamal Mosley.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I think the biggest portion is going to be the medical staff.
Gotcha. That's
So,
crazy.
so I'm curious as to there's going to be roster turnover. There always is. There was when Carlisle was here, when Donnie was here, when Nelly was here. There's always roster turnover, and there's you want some of your core to be consistent, uh, play together for a few years, develop a chemistry. But who do you keep out of the current roster? I've got the 6 players I would keep, and then the rest of them I could care less about.
Yeah, that's tough. I know they're gonna probably consider moving PJ Washington because him and Cooper pretty much play the same position. Nazi Marshall, I think they will still keep him. The two guards where you have Williams and you have Nimhart, who do you pick? I think they're gonna pick Nimhart more so than Williams because Williams is not. He's kind of like a poor man's Kyrie because he's pretty fast and he can get to the hole almost at will, but not like Kyrie. He still doesn't have the shot that Kyrie has because Kyrie can shoot from deep. The center position, I'm thinking they may move Gafford and keep Lively and what's his name? Moses Cisse. I think they're gonna keep
Lou
him.
Cisse.
Yeah, Cisse. And Christie, he's kind of digressed in my opinion. I don't know if they're gonna retain him or not because he's really been not not spectacular the way he should be. And also Caleb Martin. He's an anomaly in himself. He has good games and bad games, but you need something more consistent when it comes to that position. He also is playing that small forward shooting guard position, and he offensively he's not really there, but defensively he's there. So those are the ones I think may be the ones that they're gonna let go for sure, or make some moves with them.
So, so we're along the same lines, except Lively, Gafford, and Cisse. You keep that 3-headed monster at center. Centers and point guards the hardest one,
Mm,
and uh, speed kills. Yeah, make a decision between Brandon Williams and Nembhard.
Yeah,
There, I mean, there's no sense in keeping both. Uh, PJ out of here. Klay
yeah,
Thompson out of here. Marvin Bagley, if you can get him for 3-4 million a year, keep him nice backup center instead of Dwight Powell.
yeah. That is gonna be tough though, because Dwight Powell's a fan favorite.
Yeah, and you might, I mean, league minimum, you might sign him anyhow. But you keep the three centers, maybe Bagley, Middleton out of here. Klay
Yeah,
Thompson trading for a second round pick. You won't get a first round. Trading for a second round pick. Uh, PJ try to get a first round pick. Uh, so you really the two areas you're going to need. So you got Cooper, Gafford, Lively, one of the four centers. Keep Kyrie, Nebhart, or Brandon Williams. Caleb's a waste of salary. So those
yeah.
six guys are Najee. 7.
They should have kept Grimes, man. Grimes is
Yeah.
stupid.
I I said that was all he had the notoriety, but that was just making another bad decision on top of another. But those 7 players you keep and then you build around those 5 of those 7. Uh so the two positions you really need to fill is the power forward position and the point guard, somebody behind Kyrie,
So
lighten
would
the load on Kyrie.
in the power forward position, do you want scoring or you want defense, in your opinion?
I want a guy who is a Swiss Army knife.
That's a hard to come by.
They are, and Cooper Flag's already one of them, and Caleb Wilson in North Carolina, AJ DeBonsa is another. So there's 2 of the guys. We'll find out Sunday what their pick is, but there's 2 guys that uh, Cooper Flag don't need to be at power forward, keeping it small forward.
Yeah,
So
because he's playing out of
you
his
get
mind.
you get a 6'8", 6'9" Swiss Army knife that can do a little bit of whatever. Uh,
Scottie Pippen of early of
well, a
Pelicans.
better version, a more consistent, better version of PJ Washington and younger.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, do you think Cooper Flag has superstar potential or
He's, I mean, you and I, we went to the game. He's growing on me. At first he did not strike me. I had a struggle to find out what he was really good at, and uh, when you have those players that are extremely good at one thing, but they're not so good at all the other stuff, the Cooper Flag is just really good at everything. He is not one of those things that just sticks out, stands out. That other than he can be at 3-point line and 2 steps be dunking it on you if you leave the sea open. But I mean, basically those 7 players you keep, everything else is tradable or cuttable. Plus, they got salary room. So, like, you get a second round pick for Clay, that's 15 million you can free up. You uh, Middleton and Bagley, that's they're so they get rid of some of the because what would the Lakers give to have Clay Thompson with Luka and Kennard? You know, there's always a team. They, you trade him to the Spurs, you had a shooter that don't have to have a play run for him. An older guy like that has been in championship to play with Wemby, Castle, and Fox, and that. I'm like, ooh, buddy. So uh, you could easily get a second round. You might get a first round, but you probably get a first round for PJ. He's young enough. He's under control at a reasonable salary. So
yeah.
those are the decisions that the GM's got to make. And then once he makes those decisions, then the coach has got to put it together. What kind of offense are we going to run that works best for the type of players he has? The
Yeah.
offense they ran with Luka is not going to work with the players they got now. So
Nah.
you got to make that shift, and if you're going to make that shift, then you might as well shift coaches too.
That'll be tough though. Because Jason Kidd, like, I like him, man. He's been phenomenal as a coach.
Yeah, but as you know, most coaches have certain schemes they like to run. There's a few coaches that are adaptable and they run schemes that work to their players. So
Mm.
until you stabilize the roster some way, you can't really come up with it. As I when we were at that game, I said, count how many passes there are. And it was dribble, dribble, shoot. Dribble, dribble, shoot. And it was like we saw what, maybe 5 possessions where there was more than 2 passes?
Yeah, that was horrible. I mean, but I understood, but I think he was more so seeing that Cooper could make 50 points, but it is what it is.
Well, they were trying to get him the win. They were really pushing to win Rookie of the Year, but they coached the same way the next year. I'm not against Jason Kidd coming back, but if you really want a fresh start, it's kind of back to the food analogy. You got to clean the whole kitchen and go get all new ingredients.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So, speaking of ingredients, Luka scored 70 some points against Atlanta, and Kobe had like 80, 81, 82, was it, in 3 quarters. Didn't even play the fourth quarter. And of course, everybody knows the will 100. So Bam Adebayo had one of those. He had all the ingredients going and scored 83 points. So what is your reflecting back on Bam Adebayo since Miami's out of the playoffs? What are your thoughts on Bam scoring 83 points?
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it myself. I was like, Bam, out of all people, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points, March 10th, 2026. It was historic, man. 83 points. Miami was facing off against the Washington Wizards. So, it's the Wizards. So, I mean, Kobe, he surpasses Kobe 81 points, and everybody was kind of pissed that he was about to do that. And Bam didn't really consider it, but the coach kept him out there, and they ended up winning the game 150 to 129 against again the Wizards, man. And my opinion on that was like, I mean, why hate on a guy? He still had to get the ball in the hole. He had to position himself to make the points he had made, get to the free throw line. He did everything possible, but it wasn't intentional. I don't think he was trying to. Once he seen that he could break the record, and also his coach also seen that he could break the record, it was like, why don't you just go for it? I mean, so that's what basically I'm feeling, that he just basically wanted to go for it. He was so close. He was probably at 79 at one point. And then they was like, "Hey, you might well just get one more bucket, at least tie him." So he tied him, and then the next couple possessions, he ended up breaking him. So as far as the scoring, that record Kobe held on to, 81 points, and he did that against, I believe, Toronto, which is, it's crazy in his own on his own breath. But Bam doing it, man. I have no bones against that, man, because again, you have to score the buckets. You have to get to the paint. You have to get to the free throw line. You have to do everything possible to even get to 50 points. You know what I mean? And, we were speaking about Cooper Flag. He had 51 points. You have to still play the game. And to get 83 points, it's not that easy, especially you playing against people who are professional basketball players who come out of college and high rankings. You know what I mean? A lot of these kids that are playing now played really well, and from high school all the way to college level to the NBA. So he had to still get the ball in the hole and score those points, and that's my opinion on it. I think it's well deserved. I don't know why people was hating on him for doing what comes natural, and that's just playing basketball. And he got 83 points out of it. So hey, just
Well,
let the
and
man live.
he shoot a lot of free throws in that game as well?
He did. The refs, I don't know if the refs had anything to do with that. I don't think so, because it didn't feel like it to me.
Well,
It felt
kind of
like
like
he was deserving.
the other team trying to prevent him from getting the 83. I think a couple of those were intentional fouls. Uh,
Hmm.
but you still got to make the free throws.
You do.
And you look at even Luka's high game or Kobe's high game, they're shooting above 60%. I don't remember what Bam shot in that game, but it wasn't because of high volume, but didn't he shoot like near 70% in that game from the field?
That would be a good question. Let me look it up real quick. Percentage shot.
I think he had like
Yeah, he shot 20 out of 43, so he was 46.5% from the field, and from the free throw he was 83.7%. So he shot 36 he shot 43 free throws and made 36. That's crazy. He set the record for free throws made and attempted in a single game. So that says a lot about him just getting to the line. I mean, you still have to get to the line. You still got to get the foul. You still have to make your free throws, and to make 36 free throws is crazy.
yeah, your arm starts to get tired when you shoot that many free throws and that many from the field.
Nah, real talk, man. Nah, salute, man. Man, don't let them hate on you like that, man, because you work hard to get where you are, man. So whenever they're saying that it sucks that you broke Kobe's record, now you needed to break Kobe's record, because at the end of the day, you are the one who's out there playing the game. You are the one who's out there scoring the buckets. You're the one out there getting fouled and going to the line. So salute to Kobe, but I mean, somebody had to break it. All records are meant to be broke.
So, I have one other question then. What do you think about Spoelstra's decision to leave him in the game and to force feed him the ball?
I agree with it. I mean, because you're playing the Wizards again. The Wizards. I mean, what they gonna do? I mean, you're so close to getting that record. You might as well just go ahead and break it, because he probably started that right at when Bam was at 77 points. You know what I mean? So you got 77 points. You need XYZ points to get it. And we got plenty of time, so you might well just take advantage of what we have, especially when you're playing against the Washington Wizards. I'm not trying to bash on the Wizards, but if you're
Well,
playing a team,
it would have been nice if he'd have got 83 with street clothes out there playing.
but when you're playing a team that doesn't have a lot of potential of getting to the playoffs, you might well just score as many as you can, and then if you have a record that's right there in your grasp and you can get it, yeah, I think I don't have no problem with that, because you might as well just do it.
Yeah, I think Spoelstra took more flack for it than Bam Adebayo did.
Nah, facts, facts. Nah, it is what it is, man. Whew, man. So speaking of, what, you have any thoughts on that yourself? What were your thoughts when you seen that game?
I, we pretty much covered it. He shot a high percentage. He shot a lot of free throws. They force fed him the ball. So
Yeah,
force feeding the ball kind of brings us to the next question that you have for me.
yeah. Are the Knicks now favored to win the East this year? And I know Carl Anthony Towns is playing a lot better than he did with Minnesota, because I think he feel more comfortable playing in the New York system. But with him playing and Bronson playing, and what they call it, the Villanova three. He was a Villanova four, but they traded one of their players to Minnesota, so it's no longer the Villanova four, but it's now the Villanova three. But do you think them having that nucleus of players, Hart, Bronson, and Mikal Bridges from Villanova, playing so well together, that's got to be amazing, bro. Just to play with your homeboys like that as your I guess your former college teammates, it's got to be amazing. But do you think what they're doing now, because they beat a team by, they was at 50 at halftime? I'm like, what the hell? Can they go ahead and make it a Eastern Conference championship?
My first thought was, it's so blatantly obvious the media want the Knicks to win, starting with Spike Lee, Stephen A. I mean, they and all the several others, the big heavy set guy, I can't think of his name right now, Reinhorst or something. They all
um,
they
Windhorst.
all they all want the Knicks to win.
But
So
all those guys are from the East Coast, right? Most of them.
yeah, so you got East Coast replay, and the ESPN is based in New Jersey. They because the real estate was cheaper than New York, so you got a lot of base. So the media, the media that we're hearing is biased. Even the announcers, Mike Breen and all that. And the Knicks had, last time they were this good was when Carmelo was there with
In Jeremy Lin.
Stoudemire. Uh, so the media is definitely pulling for him. I don't, I don't really think. Now there's rumors the last day or two that Boston is looking to move Jalen Brown or Tatum, one of the two, uh, go after Giannis.
Mm,
They're about the same age, uh, with salary, but they got a center problem. It's like the Knicks don't really have a center. Jalen Duren, the Pistons, once the Pistons got by Orlando and exited the first round, they got like, well, now that they've got out of the first round, I'd like the Pistons can start playing more free. When you're the number one seed, it was just what last year Cleveland was the number one seed and flamed out in the first round. Uh,
hmm
so now that they got past the first round, they got over the jitters. I can see the Pistons rolling over the Knicks. The Knicks, the Knicks. When I watch them, they they're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
So you think Detroit is going to beat the Knicks the way the Knicks have been playing lately?
Yeah, I mean, uh the I had picked a few weeks ago. I had the Cavs and the other team that lost, one of the other teams that lost. But I think if they're a matchup nightmare for the Knicks, the Knicks. The reason I say they're Jekyll and Hyde is they go through these periods where it's nothing but hero ball, and then it's team ball, and then there's hero ball, and then there's team ball.
Mm,
And their previous coach, Thibodeau, tried to get them to play defense. So sometimes they play defense, sometimes they don't play defense. Mike Brown's like trying to ring it around, and it, it they there's always ebbs and flow of the game, but they just they have this kind of we play good, we don't play good. We play good, we don't play good. We play great, we don't really play great at all. We play great, we don't play so great. And that inconsistency, I mean, they have an identity and they've got chemistry, but do you really want a center coming down, jacking up a 3-pointer without passing the ball around?
nah.
Yeah, I mean, that's analogous to KP can't move, and we're just gonna move the ball around and then we'll toss it to him, but that at least the game flowed, and so, the Knicks offense sometimes doesn't flow. But I don't think they'll be the East. If they're going to, this will be the year. But here's the question I got back to you:
Mm.
Is Brunson better than Luka?
Right now, no, because I don't think Bronson is offensively as talented as Luca. Luca offense is crazy. Bronson learned a lot from Luca, considering what he said when he was a Mav. He was like, "I've learned a lot just watching him slow himself down and do his own pace," because he was basically the one who learned the most from Luca, in my opinion. And I think what he learned brought him to where he is in New York, because New York got him playing like an all-star. So yeah, that is a good question.
Well, because and the reason I ask that is Brunson does a lot of the Luka tricks.
Yeah.
Get, get the guy on your back on your hip on the back side, and then get him leaning and fake up, come back, fake up, come back, and then hit the little fadeaway. You know, he's a smaller version of Luca, and he's left-handed. he may not be as dynamic a scorer, but I, that offense runs a lot like the Mavericks offense ran, and Brunson to me looks like a miniature version of Luka out there.
So do you think he can take? I mean, I know you said they might not get past Detroit, but I think with Bronson, with Carl Anthony Towns, that's a challenge for Detroit to get past New York and go on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think it's going to come down to who's the X factor for which team. You know, which this when you get to Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals, the stars are going to get theirs. It's which team has the X factor, not just one game, but the X factor for the whole series. But hey, Luka gets you 30, 35 a game. Brunson's not far behind, 25, 28 a game. So I just say that because the Knicks play a lot like the Mavericks did when Luka, and the first time they made the Western Conference Finals, Luka did play the first two games. It was Brunson and Dinwiddie.
Mm.
So speaking of playoffs, that's the Eastern Conference. We got the Western Conference. Can LeBron get the Lakers past the second round without Luka?
LBJ, can he do it? Now, the betting favorites say that no, he won't be able to do it without Luca. Um, the scenario with him being 41 years old, he successfully carried him past the Rockets in the first round without Luca, without a what do you call him? Austin Reeves. They gave him a nickname. I can't remember his nickname, but to do that at 41 is very hard, and they're already down 0-2 against Oklahoma. And I hate to say it, man, the refs have really been favoring the Oklahoma Thunder, man. OKC Thunder has been really getting a lot of favorable calls, and those same calls are not going toward the Lakers. And I wonder if there's something there in regards to if they're trying to push the narrative that Oklahoma should win it again, which Shea winning. Did he win MVP this year? I think he's.
They haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's really close. He may win it, but I just feel like it's gonna be OKC for sure because now the Lakers are down 0-2 to the OKC Thunder, and they played much better last game. But again, the foul calls has really been what's been biting this series as far as the Lakers trying to win it. Now, if LeBron can overcome that and win three straight and make it a 3-2 series and go back to Oklahoma and see if they can close it out there, that'll be amazing because then the conversation goes back, is he the greatest of all time? And the answer is still no, in my opinion. But he can still have that asterisk like, hey, he did it, but he did it with however many teams. Considering Jordan only did it with one team, 6 championships, and however many scoring titles Jordan had, and MVP. Also, him winning the Defensive Player of the Year several times. I don't remember ever LeBron winning the Defensive Player of the Year. But not to say that he's not a great player, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the Lakers past OKC without the 40 points that Luka could probably give you in any given time. And also with Austin Reeves playing a lot better, that may be a factor that they could make it a series, but it all goes back to if they can get the two they're going to have in LA coming up. So yeah, I'm really don't think LeBron will be able to pull it off without his help, his sidekick, if you will.
It's kind of like what Nelly used to say. It don't matter whether we lost by 1 point or 100 points. It doesn't count as a loss. Oklahoma City did what they're supposed to do. They won 2 games at home.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what they do on the road. The Achilles heel of the Lakers, even with everybody healthy, has been defense. Yeah, I mentioned X Factor. Hachimura is definitely an X Factor,
He's
and
been playing well as of late, though.
he has. And Luke Kennard came out of, I guess he's been known in the league, but he kind of came out of nowhere. He was not doing nothing in Atlanta, but he looks like a like Crusoe, just kind of guy, or McCullough for the Pacers last year.
Yeah.
Just so I when I looked at the run sheet, I like, can he? Yes. Will he? No. Uh, kind of like always counting the Spurs out, or always counting out the Patriots when Brady was there. You can't count LeBron out. Uh, in that series against Houston, he he went to the hole and did a reverse behind the over the head behind the
Dunk,
reverse
yeah.
dunk.
Went
And I'm
straight
like,
through the lane. They opened the lane up like, hey, there's a truck coming through.
I'm like, well, you hadn't seen him dunk like that in years. Usually it's just straight head dunk, but like you got to get up. So he's still got some hops. He's not your normal 41-year-old, that's for sure.
Well, he spent $1 million on his health and fitness as far as his body goes a year.
Yeah. Uh, I read somewhere Luka hadn't even been cleared to run. They expect him to be out another 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, because hamstrings are one of those tender muscles that you got to get off of it in order for you to really be able to heal from it. You know what I mean? You got to have some at least two months of healing.
Yeah, he just came out of the sleeve or boot that he's in. Uh, AR-15, Austin Reeves, he's been in a shooting slump when he came back. So he's
Yeah.
not giving them the
But
bump.
this last game, I think he had like 26, 27 points.
Yeah, one game. He's had one game. Uh, which comes back. Older veterans, and you'll see them have one great game in a series like in the playoffs, and you're like, all right, we got a chance. Then you don't see them for the rest of the series. They have to
Yeah,
get
I
past.
think the supporting cast is what's killing the Lakers, man, because everybody's not really fulfilling their assignments when it comes to scoring. Because that's what's really killing them. Is it's not that they're not playing good defense. You got Marcus Smart, but at the end of the day, Marcus Smart is not an offensive-minded player. He's more defensive,
He's getting
and he's
up there.
older. Yeah,
He's getting up there in age too. So, you know, the veterans on that team can play it, but can they do it for a whole series? Not likely. Uh, to me, it comes down to one thing, and it's not necessarily the youth, but Oklahoma City's length and athleticism. Uh, Regardless, throw age out.
mhm.
There's very few teams in the league that have the length and athleticism that the Thunder have.
Yeah, real talk.
And worse yet, since the Clippers didn't win in the playoffs, play in, the Oklahoma City Thunder have the Clippers pick, which is a lottery pick. So
Dang.
if the Clippers get lucky, Oklahoma City could have a top 4 pick, and no worse than the 11th or 12th pick. So they're going to get more talent to go with the 3 players that they just paid huge contracts to. Uh, the thing that I would be watching the most is how healthy does Hartenstein stay?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if Hartenstein is not available, Chet Holmgren, uh, that many minutes, that many games, he won't hold up.
So let me ask you this question: If LeBron had Kyrie, Luka, Gafford, Lively, and whatever backup we can get as far as point guard, would they be able to take care of OKC Thunder with that squad?
You'd have to add PJ Washington.
Yeah, the only problem is where you gonna put PJ because that's the same position LeBron plays.
Yeah, you put him at center and then let him go to work on offense. And let LeBron clean up anything, or you put LeBron at center.
Yeah, yeah,
LeBron's strong enough to play center.
yeah.
He
Because
even
I think
he
that
even
the
openly
2020.
admitted that he was more Magic Johnson than he was Michael Jordan
Yeah, I
the other
remember
day.
him saying that. Now, I think with the 2024 Dallas Mavericks, that was probably the best team that could douse the fire of Oklahoma as far as what they're doing now. But yeah, there's
Well,
no team
there's two
that match up
players.
better to them.
Oklahoma City didn't have two players that year. They didn't have Hartenstein. They didn't have Caruso. They had
Yeah.
Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey had been a starter, but he couldn't hit a three, and because of the defense that Sean Sweeney had designed, they basically forced Dagnall to put Giddey on the bench.
I remember that. Giddy.
Yeah.
Giddy up and get on the bench.
So, Caruso and Hartenstein was those hard-nosed glue players. Uh, do you think it will be a gentleman's sweep?
uh well, what would it be 4-1? Yeah. Now, if Luka's coming out, I think they're gonna get swept. If he's not coming back, rather. If Luka don't come back, the Lakers are swept. They're out of there. There's no way. Because at this point, okay, did what they needed to do at home. Now all they got to do is win one in LA, and then this the third one. The fourth one, as far as game four, they're gonna do everything they can to close the Lakers out in that game four. And I don't see how the Lakers gonna overcome that. So I think they're gonna get swept if Luka doesn't come back. And if Luka does come back, it's still he's not gonna be 100%.
So are we going to have 15 years later, we're going to have another Mother's Day massacre?
The mother's that is a good question. I would love to see it. You know what I mean? But there's nothing like what the Mavs did to the Lakers, man. And if they do it, if the OKC Thunder do that to the Lakers, oh man, that'd be crazy.
Well,
But then
Andrew Bynum's like, yeah, I want out of this game, and he clotheslined JJ Barea just to get thrown out of the game. And then Ron Artest was like, we ain't winning. I'm gonna go out too, and he got two technicals and thrown out. They
but,
basically gave up, and that was that was a Laker team that just won two championships and been in the NBA Finals 3 years in a row.
yeah, we had a squad of shooters, man. You had Jason Terry. Jason Kidd was shooting threes, Dirk shoot threes, and then you had Peja Stojakovic shooting threes. It was like, how you gonna stop that? There's no way. Now
And Brian Cardinal was hit a three.
yeah, but I'm thinking, how does OKC match to that? Because they don't have the same capability as 3-point shooters that we had at the time in 2011. So as far as it being a massacre, I doubt it. But I think the Lakers gonna give them everything they can, but they still gonna get closed out. And that's just the fact that if Luka doesn't come back the next game, and he try to play that fourth game, that it's no hope because there's no way he's gonna be able to pull it off.
I think the minute he goes to decelerate, he re-pulls the hamstring.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that when you think of it on a physiological level regarding his hamstring, yeah, he's been doing it for so many years, and that stress pretty much caught up with him. So I don't know how he's going to really overcome that and be back to 100%. And I think in hindsight, looking at what Nico did, maybe Nico have some type of insight of him. He may be hurting in that aspect, but it's still that's your franchise. You can't get rid of your franchise.
So I have one last question along because you mentioned that Oklahoma City not having that shooting. The Mavericks own the 30th pick, which is the Thunder's original pick. Would you trade Klay Thompson that first round pick for one of Oklahoma City's future first round picks coming up that they own a bucket full of first round picks that would. And if you're Oklahoma City, would you want Klay Thompson and basically do a pick swap because they have a Mavericks pick swap next year. They could get a pick swap back and just swap a 2030, a 20 26 first round picks for like a 20, anything from 27 out to 30. Would you, if you're Oklahoma City, would you take this year's first round pick and give up a future first round pick to get Clay Thompson to add to that as a gunner?
Now, contrary to popular belief, I am thrilled that we have Clay Thompson on our squad. Would I trade him right now? No, because he hasn't really had a fair chance to really play. When he got here, his thought process was all they need is a shooter. They just came off of a championship, and now, I don't have that same nucleus that I thought we were gonna have when even though they started out kind of slow. I think having him now and keeping him, I wouldn't trade him. I mean, I'm not the GM, but I'm thinking through rose colored glasses that maybe he may be because he's really coming back from all the injuries himself, and now this past year he played very well. So I anticipate he's going to play even better next year because now he has a year to really play on that knee and get it acclimated back, and now he's feeling himself, and plus he dated Megan Thee Stallion, so now he's Clay Thompson again. I feel like I wouldn't trade him. I mean, he still has a tangible that we may need coming off the bench as far as shooters go, and plus he's still decent on defense. Still, he's not a slack. To put it that way, I wouldn't trade him. You know what I mean? If they
He's
traded
he's
him, yeah, I would say
he's
that first round.
serviceable. He's
Huh?
serviceable. Defensively, he's serviceable. Uh,
Exactly. So, I mean, what are you getting from the draft? I mean, you still have to deal with
timeline,
a rookie. Huh?
timeline.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but if you want to win now, which is I'm thinking that's the proper thought process right now is to try to win now because most
Well,
teams are trying to win now.
there's two things you gain. You might even be able to get a player. There's two things, actually three things you gain. One, you get your pick swap back. And instead of the 30th pick in this year's draft, you get a future first round pick, which they don't own between now and 2030, the Lakers pick. And then the third, you get salary cap relief. So, uh, you know, Oklahoma, Oklahoma, like there's two teams. There's two teams. If they added Clay Thompson, then you're not, it's not, you're adding more than one ring. That's the Spurs and Oklahoma City add Clay Thompson. Then you know.
Yeah, and speaking of the Spurs, I still think they're gonna get past Oklahoma. They're gonna be in the championship, in my opinion.
So you've got the Spurs and the Knicks in the championship.
The Knicks, they have a great chance, specifically with Boston being out of there. So now the Knicks are looking like a favorite right now in regards to what I'm seeing. Now, Detroit, again, like you said, may sneak up. I want Detroit to win. That's what I'm really pulling for to come out of the East. I want them to win, but it's like I said, it's going to be tough to beat New York.
So so ratings wise, nothing beats the Lakers Celtics series.
Yeah.
Never has. So that since that's not on the table, the Spurs are not a draw, even though they won 5 championships. But the Knicks for the NBA and ratings, I mean, the network would love that.
Yeah.
And uh, I'm gonna go with OKC and Detroit, number one versus number one. But the Spurs Knicks, from a rating standpoint, that gets a lot of eyeballs on the finals.
I still think OKC can't beat the Spurs, man. That's just how I feel.
So
Awesome.
it's been a great show. Tell our viewers where they can find you.
Oh yeah, thank you for the great questions and making me feel a part of something that's great, and which is that Swish for Real. But you can always find me here on Swish for Real. My social media handles is Mikhail Poet dot director. You punch it up in X, you punch it up in Instagram, you punch it up in TikTok. I'm on all of them now. I'm not a social media darling. I really don't care to be. I like talking basketball, and that's where you can find me. So just Mikhail Lampkin, poet dot director, anywhere in any social media. And then yes, Swish for real all the time.
Well, you can find me Swish for Real or under Boogie Bob on YouTube. And we thank you for joining us. I hope you come back and like, comment, subscribe. We got t-shirts out there for you. Swish for Real out.
Thank y'all, man. Appreciate you, Bob. Have a good one. Peace.
That's it, Pring.